I would like to request our honorable chief guest, Professor K.K. Aggarwal. Sir, we request you to kindly guide all of us with your experience and your views.
Dr. Rizvi, Vice President of FWA, very dear colleague, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Dr. Manish Mishra, Group Head, NSDC Strategy, and so many distinguished institution builders in front of me this morning. Friends, because there is no session to summarize the speakers here, so I'll take that responsibility also to some extent and make my views. But whatever I had jotted down, I have changed quite a bit after listening the two eminent speakers and Dr. Rizvi's comments. I think first thing which I like to narrate is, I have been a student of software engineering, and when we used to teach software engineering, there was a chapter which was called change management. And I found it a very beautiful chapter which applies not only to software, applies to every field of life. It used to say, whenever you think of a change, please write down why do you want to change. Number two, you decide what exactly has to be changed and how it has to be implemented. And number three, you write down before making the change, after doing this change, will there be any additional problems? And if yes, do we still want to make it for the change? That is a very beautiful chapter which we used to teach while you're tempted to make changes in the software very quickly. So in the context of today's discussions, I was just reminded of this story and see, when we talk about national education policy, first part of this chapter is very well done, extremely well done. What are the problems of the existing system? Probably the best encyclopedia which we have about the problems of the existing systems is NAP document. The second part, how to implement? Where do we do the real implementation? We are weak. And even after 2 years, I think we are still weak to a reasonably good extent. I think the number of webinars which we have conducted on implementation of national education policy will find an entry in the Guinness Book of Records if somebody really works for it. I don't think any topic in the world has had so many webinars or seminars on any topic, even word wars or whatever. But if we see the actual translation on the ground, it is still weak because of the reason that we never worked as to who will do what, how will it be done, and so on and so forth, which is still needed to be done. And third part, when we make the changes, what will happen? We have not even thought of it to a serious extent. Friends, why I am trying to say this is, if I look to the history of education system in the country, we have been by and large doing a seesaw approach. Do this, stop this, now do this. Now stop this, do this. I remember our school system was very strong in science and mathematics. I still remember the head of the school education system of United States of America was here about 20 years ago, and she said, when I look to the science and mathematics being taught in Indian schools, I would love my children to be taught in India. That was the kind of rigor of science and mathematics in our schools. Dr. Gupta is here. He will deliver a talk. We have been able to do something in atomic energy, something in defense, something in space, only because our base in science was very strong. For getting science, replacing it by engineering, how good it has done, I don't know. I'm an engineer, but is engineering to be supplemental to science, or is engineering to be replacement of science? Is a question which we have never seriously discussed and answered. And I think we might repent some decisions after 25 years, because these things do not have an immediate effect, do not have an immediate impact. We created a situation in this country that every child, if he or she wants to prove his or her existence, must become an engineer or a doctor. Otherwise, he or she is useless to the society. That is the kind of signal we created. Is that the signal which is good for the country, good for the parents, good for the society, good for the children? We never debated on this. And today, we are trying to come back to it, try to do what we do. Dr. Rizvi was saying liberal arts students should get an exposure to technology and computer science. Extremely well stepped. I remember the world famous portrait of Mona Lisa was analyzed by computer scientists, and to say that Mona Lisa's portrait has 88% smile, 7% anguish, 3% this, and so on and so forth. This software may be easy, but the point is, any computer science engineer who has done this must have understood all the basic forms of smiles and expressions and all the facial expressions. Otherwise, this could not have been done. So any real life problem cannot be solved just by one discipline. That's a fact of life. And you have to be multidisciplinary to solve any problem. And this idea is easy to sell now after Corona. But Corona has taught us that it was not a purely medical science problem. If we had treated Corona as a doctor's problems, it would have never been solved. Corona had to be treated as a health science problem, had to be treated as an economic problem, had to be treated as a social problem, had to be treated as a transportation problem, had to be treated as a political problem, and then only we could somewhere reach the solution. So no real life solution is single discipline, single-minded, and today I find it easier to convey, but all of us have suffered Corona and have seen how the multidimensionality of the situation had to be tackled. When we approach a problem, Dr. Manish referred to district administration's view of some situations. I remember I read it in books and journals that during the British regime, the town of Delhi had a lot many small cobras which were going in the streets of Delhi. And they were a terror. Now the government used to kill cobras, but for the government to kill all the cobras, find out is not an easy task. So somebody thought of public-private partnership. So they said, okay, you are also allowed to kill cobras. But then as a citizen, why should I kill cobras? They say, okay, we'll give you incentive. If you kill a cobra, we will give you 100 rupees. Now, how do you prove that you have killed a cobra? So you were asked to bring the skin of the cobra to the office of the deputy commissioner, and they will give you 100 rupees. It appeared to be a very smart solution, but public is smarter than the smart solution. Now people started rearing cobras in the homes. And then kill them and then get the prize. So a lot of money was going. Now in the process, if they rear 10 cobras, 4 cobras will run away even from their control, and 6 they will kill and get 600 rupees, but 4 excess cobras have gone to the roads of this. So ultimately we found we are paying much more for killing cobras, and number of cobras has still increased in the town of Delhi. So that is what, it's nobody's fault in the whole process. But it's only that we take one view of the solution to a problem, and then we end up with the such solutions. This is usual with us. It's very easy to go on blaming others retrospectively. That's very easy. But at the point of time when you look at a problem, this happens. We were just talking before the session, IT as a branch of engineering. I remember no IIT in this country started IT as a branch to begin with. Because I think they saw a lot of merit, that it's not a separate branch of engineering, it's a tool which has to be applied with every branch of engineering. But then society moved in a way that even everybody was forced to start IT, and a situation came that colleges will run only CSC, IT, CSC, IT, CSC, IT, and forget about everything else. I remember having given a talk that IT I can take at best as a layer of butter on a piece of bread. You can live on bread alone, but you can never live on butter alone. And we thought we can live on IT alone. And that is where we ultimately had to withdraw our decisions. And now AICT is flooded with applications. Please allow us to close IT branch. So when we take decisions without any long-term thinking, we will still make mistakes because this is way of life in which we work. Today, why I'm raising this is when we talk about capacity building, I thought everybody has caught on to the word skill because of the poor employability, because of the requirement for the day, because of the capacity building in the real sense of the word. But I am little scared, and I am pointing it out. In my views, the intention is never to replace knowledge by skills. Intention is to supplement knowledge by skills. And I find in some quarters, in the over-enthusiasm, this mistake being made as if skills is a substitute to knowledge. Skill may give you an employment, immediate placement. But by the time you do that job for 2 years, skill itself has changed. Now, where do you learn the new skill? And if you do not have the basic knowledge, you will never be able to learn the new skill. Because the rate of change of skills will be faster than the rate of change of knowledge. And therefore, if we want our students and graduates and citizens to remain skilled, it will be duty for us to give them essential knowledge so that they can continue to relearn themselves. And that is why we say the real skill required today is meta skill. That is how to skill yourself when the need be. Because unless we do that, we will be doing a very excellent job for immediate placements. Colleges and universities will have beautiful banners, excellent placement this year, good packages, and after 3 years they will find all those students on the road doing nothing to do. I remember in Stanford University when I was having a discussion, they said, Professor Aggarwal, we measure our success not by immediate placement, but where our students are 20 years after leaving the university. Because that's the real success of the university or the institution is, have you prepared the student for a long span? And for that long span, you have to be good in fundamentals, good in knowledge, yes, learn the skills too. I thought I'll give this signal. It is not knowledge or skills, it is knowledge plus skills. That's very important. Yesterday I was in a seminar and somebody saying, we can have knowledge-based degrees and we can have skill-based degrees. I said, no, we can have all degrees which are knowledge and skill-based. The ratio will change from student to student. Some student may feel, well, I'm comfortable with 70% knowledge, 30% skill. Other may feel, no, I'm okay only with 40% knowledge, 60% skill, and both should be acceptable to us. My take is, let's have less and less uniformity. Let's give more and more freedom to each institution, rather to each teacher and each student ultimately. See, teaching, learning basically is an individual exercise. So unless we come down to the level where a student and a teacher can decide what to do, your things will not be implemented in the real sense of the word. I know it's difficult, therefore you might have to make groups or something. And yesterday I could think of a phrase. Today I thought I can elaborate it a little. I said our focus will have to be not कि क्या पढ़ाना है, that is syllabus, but क्या बनाना है. किस बच्चे को क्या बनाना है ये फोकस लाना पड़ेगा. उसके लिए क्या करना है, दैट विल हैव टू बी द फ्लो चार्ट. नॉट कि ये पढ़ाना है, ये सिलेबस है, इसका यूनिवर्सिटी एग्ज़ाम करना है. सो दैट्स व्हाट आई थॉट आई विल कन्वे. नंबर वन, दैट इट्स नॉट ए आइदर और सिचुएशन, it's an and situation in different degrees. We normally have been going with an or situation. We have been debating about public universities or private universities. I think we can keep on debating this for another 20 years. But the fact of life is both exist and both will exist and both will continue to exist. So why not work in the manner that both get benefited, both get advantage? Because you can't eliminate one over the other. So why debate that? Debate this, how to make both better. There's no need to talk too much about engineering education, vocational education, science education separately, because if all education has to be integrated, let it be. And skills are not in the sense of traditional skills, carpentry, masonry and all that. Today's skills are very different. If you talk about VLSI design as a skill, can you do it without knowledge? Even TV repair of today, computer repair of today, which is a skill, cannot be done till you have a good knowledge about the physics and the electronics and things like that. So today's skill and knowledge will have to be taken together. And I was looking at our NBA document, which was written, I think, 14 years ago. I'm impressed with the line. It's not my line, written by my seniors earlier. It says, NBA will ensure that all graduates from an accredited institution have the requisite knowledge, skills, attitude and behavior. So knowledge, skills, attitude and behavior, all four components will be built in and ensured by the accreditation agency that has been written therein. And what a great sense in what has been written. So friends, I thought I have been a student of information technology and I've seen ups and downs of information technology. And again, I remember I said in one of the lectures, IT stands I plus T. I is human and T is technology. So humans and technology working together is IT according to me. And I also said, please remember I is before T. So the human element is more important than the technology part of it. Otherwise, we miss many dimensions of the things. We create automation, we reduce the cost, but in the process, if we create unemployment, is it a good cause? We will have to see what we do. And the totality of the picture will have to be seen. So I'm so happy that this Federation of World Academics has taken a very strong topic for capacity building in the real holistic sense. And I'm sure I've looked at the speakers for the day, and I'm sure at the end of the day, all of you will be much richer than the morning. And we will all implement it in our own limited fashions and styles, in our own institutions. The one very beautiful part of this policy is, as I repeat again, it's an excellent policy. But its implementation will happen only and only when every institution, not UGC, AICT alone, every institution, every teacher, every student becomes committed to its implementation in the right sense of the word, in its spirit, not in terms of circulars and SOPs and norms and standards. We will have to be really autonomous to do for it. If we don't have autonomy, I don't think will be able to implement it. How can you design courses for each student unless you are autonomous? You will have to be autonomous, and if college A differs from college B, even 20% curriculum, it's okay. What's wrong with this? If we are talking about various subjects, but scenarios, let it be based on local conditions, let's be based on local needs, and so on and so forth. Then only we serve the real purpose of the society. So friends, with these few comments, given the time which is short, I think I'll thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this, and they have interesting sessions, including a cyber security session, which is necessity of the day, because we have too much information now. And whenever you have too much, you are always worried about theft. No poor man has ever locked his house. Only the rich man will lock one lock, two locks, then put a security guard, so on and so forth. So now cyber security has come to that level that we have so much of information that we need so much security. But let me tell you, cyber crime has not reached in the same proportion as the cyber information has increased. So don't blame it's bad or it's something. It's still reasonably okay, better than other forms, and we will continue to do better in this respect. So I think that session will also be a very enriching session. So my take, friends, is individual choices will be very important in the implementation of this policy, and we will have to create an environment that every institution is unique, and that uniqueness will have to be discovered, which finally will have to boil down to that every student is unique, and that will have to be found out and delivered. And I'll end with the last sentence of Picasso. He made a beautiful statue, and his friend remarked, "Sir, you have made a beautiful statue." He says, "I have not made anything. This statue was already in the block of stone which I had. I only removed the extra stone, and the statue was within." So all our students, by and large, they're very creative, they're very innovative minds. Only our duty is to remove some extra darkness, but in that process, we need not stuff them with what we want. We just let their naturalness recover. Once we do that, I think we have implemented this policy in the right sense. Knowledge and skills will automatically get combined. Multidisciplinarity will automatically come in if we go in this process. With these few words, I thank you very much and wish you all the very best. Thank you.